With the emergence of new micro brands across the market, it is becoming increasingly difficult for them to stand out in the crowd. One brand that's never really found it difficult to do that though is MMI. Their beautiful design styles, their insane date displays, their bright colours and brilliant build quality, whilst also being incredibly budget, really catches my eye every time. And it obviously did for a lot of you with this recent release, the Cuttlechron, reaching $60,000 on Kickstarter. But honestly, it makes complete sense because I don't know how they're doing this for $375. My name's Jason, I'm your watch guy today. Let's get into it. There is so much to dissect about this piece. So many features and design notes that really lit my enthusiasm for it. I have the lime green dial option in, which really fulfills my love for colourful watches, but it also serves the function of being completely luminous, and I will show you that incredible lume shot later on in the video. The Cuttlechron is always going to be a hit or miss piece because of that really squared shaping. But I think it's one that you should all really consider deeply because it has an incredible fit to wrist. This is a development of their 2019 release, the Dumbo. Now the Dumbo was fittingly named because it was 46mm, but did come with a 500m water resistance. The Cuttlechron, on the other hand, offers a 42mm casing, which I would say fits much more like a 40mm piece. As you'd expect from a dive piece, it is slightly thicker than the average, even if it does have that Miyota 9015 movement. It comes in at 12.5mm thick, including the bezel, case back, and the slightly domed sapphire crystal. The crown is brilliantly hidden away in the lower right-hand corner. The brilliance of this crown is that the shape of it almost makes it flow completely with the case design, and whilst it's screwed in at certain angles, you won't even spot it. The grip to the crown gives a little bit more accessibility to it because of the obvious natural guarding that the casing provides it. It's signed with the MMI logo, but in a brilliantly loomed signature. Again, I'll show you that shortly. The bezel fitted to this piece definitely has a more tool-like click to it. It's fitted with a black ceramic bezel insert with white numeral markings. The 120 click action has a very precise feeling to it, and it is quite easy to use with that queen edge grip. The caseback has screw points to fit it to the casing. However, with the squared nature of it, I think that's probably the only way that they could have gone, whilst also providing a halfway decent dive resistance. I really love the cuttlefish that is embossed into the caseback. It's highly polished, it stands out, and it may not be the prettiest creature on the earth, but I think it really fits in here. I think the casing really frames this dial perfectly, from the high polished chamfered edges into the dive bezel into that deep set dial. I love the green color on this one, and I love the luminous dial, but this is available in plenty of other configurations, including a bronze casing if that's something that you'd be interested in. The indices are applied to the dial and stand off very well to give that very 3D type of aesthetic throughout the dial. I really love how the chapter ring adds another frame to that dial. It stands off it really well with the pointed indexes around the outer edge, but it also serves as a very functional device with that incremental minute track printed to it. Something that I've always loved about MMI is their ingenious way of displaying the date. They have printed each day of the month around the inside of the dial, and they have tiny little cutaways, which allows a bright red disc to highlight the day of the month. Of course, the MMI logo is printed just above the handset. That handset is really lovely and bold. Exactly what you want in a dive piece. It has the high polish finishing to the frames of the hands, which fits very well with the indices. And adding that final little splash of color is the second hand, which has a beautiful sweep due to that 9015 movement, and it reaches to the edge of the dial perfectly. The lume to this watch is a fantastic feature. As I've mentioned, it's a luminous dial, but also the indices are lumed, the bezel is lumed, even the bloody crown is lumed. And those small little details just bring it into a completely different level. I really don't think I could say anything else about this without saying it's a 10 out of 10. And I genuinely can't believe that it is this cheap with this type of quality. I think the bracelet really fits this watch perfectly. The flat link aesthetic is beautiful, and it really highlights the bold squared casing. They've also added a lovely chamfer to the sides of the bracelet, which plays in well with the casing that has that deep chamfer towards the side of the case. Beyond that, it's a H-link bracelet, and you know that I love that fit on wrist. The clasp is slightly more simple. It has the MMI logo, double pushers, and a milled clasp, but it is hiding a quick adjustment on the inside, which I know we'll all appreciate deeply. Overall, it's well finished and it fits really nicely on wrist. So this is obviously a bargain for $375, considering the build quality, the movement that they're using, the Lume shot, and the much more original design nature that they provide. It's obvious why it was funded so quickly, and I know it's going to be really popular on the pre-order. But what improvements would I make? First of all, it's a dive piece and it has 150 meters of water resistance. Now I know that's much more than you're probably going to need, but that 200 meters for me is really the base point for a dive piece, an actual dive piece. And that means that it also sits just below a good bulk of the market. The crown isn't the easiest to access. I quite like where it sits though, so I'm a little bit indifferent to that point. When it comes to finishing a case, the polishing on this is absolutely fantastic. The level of brushing to the upper case, the circular brush, is beautiful. I just wish they'd have gone for a horizontal brushing instead of a vertical one on the profile of the case. That's a very personal one for me, and I know a lot of people don't mind it. I just feel like it looks a little bit more premium that way. And while we're on that note, the case shape won't be for everyone. That's okay. But for me, I absolutely love it. I think it's just the way that it fits on my wrist. It just makes it feel premium. Now, this one in particular has to go on to the next reviewer, but I will be getting one in the future, and I'll be honest with you, I cannot wait. Thanks for watching today, guys. I really do appreciate it. This one is now available on the MMI website. That is for pre-order, and they will be shipping out around January 2025. Get yourself a New Year present. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.